Whether you live in England, USA or Sweden, come home with your qualifications and skills. Cause we got this country to build.
Yeah, that one. No, that one. The levels are up this morning. This morning we've been joined by Dr. Godwin Friday.
Dr. Friday, just unmute your microphone for me, please. It says mute. Yeah. Your microphone says muted on your side.
Altering
there we go.
Dr. Friday! Hey, why you lying, bro? Dr. Friday, why you lying, bro? You must stop lying, bro. Why you lying, bro? Dr. Friday, good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Not too bad at all, man. Not too bad.
Better than you, because we haven't been alleged to have done these devious acts.
Because look, I have it here, you know. You see right there? Everything right there, look, right there. Right there. And I hide my copybook. You can't dance like me. And I hide my copybook from you.
You'll be the judge of that. You know I have the better moves. So and that's just a fact. You can't argue with that.
I hear that. Dr. Friday, we talk about what is the pillars, the four pillars.
Well, we heard Fitz come on last week, and he spoke on some of the pillars. I think you had to mention it briefly as well as MP Leacock. But there's an allegation out now from the PM that says that you guys have scribbled that, and you've stolen those pillars from their manifesto. What do you say to that?
Why are you scribbling, bro?
Well, here's what. First of all, we have been talking about the economy and the need to revive the economy to create jobs ever since Eustace days, and certainly since I became the leader of the party. And what we have done is we've distilled these down to say we have to focus on the productive sectors. And these are the productive sectors that we are focused on. Now, they're saying that they have put in their manifesto, they're going to deal with the economy and so forth. But the truth of the matter is, fellas, where have they delivered any of the things they talk about? They say that they have agriculture that they're going to deal with, and they will do all sorts of things to bring opportunities. Yet, the agricultural sector has continued to decline in this country. We have here another broken promise in the government where they told the farmers, you have big hotels coming, you have all kind of development coming. This is going to bring opportunities, $700,000 or pounds of stuff that have to be sourced. As recently as in the budget address, Kamala talked about that and bigging themselves up and saying how to bring all these opportunities for farmers and fisher folk. Now you hear them saying that this particular developer, Sanders, is not going to buy from individual farmers. And who else is going to be putting restraints and restrictions on what farmers can do to benefit from development when they're coming? That is a broken promise because they made the farmers think that something is coming for them, and they simply are now saying something the opposite. They made, first of all, no attempt, if they knew, because remember, they have an agreement, with the developer that they didn't tell anybody. We don't know what's in it. So they're the ones who know. So they're the ones who have to say, okay, these are things we need to do to prepare in order for our people to benefit from it. Because why else are you going to have development in the country if it's not to benefit our people? And so they haven't put anything in place to help the farmers and the fisher folk to say, okay, this is what is going to be required to deal with this particular development. Let us get you ready. You have some time so that we are able to take advantage of it.
So what would you have done for the farmers in that space of time of knowing Sandals coming in?
First of all, let's go on to this again, because this particular developer, as you know, they have a deal with the government. You have concessions and so forth. They're going to be bringing things in. Does that tilt the playing field in their favor against the local suppliers as well? We don't know, because they don't. On the face of it, it appears to. But they have not made the agreement public, so that they have not, we can't say essentially what they are giving and how our local producers are going to be able to compete in that particular market. It's not a question of us being against foreign direct investment. We are not against that. We have been promoting the need to have foreign investors and local investors to create jobs, because the private sector is what generates jobs. But you have to make sure that you put things in place so that you have this spin-off from these major developments that will then create a ripple effect in the economy, that you have farmers, fisher folk, taxi operators, other service providers who will benefit from it. You can't just come and say the thing open now. You guys ain't ready, so somebody else will take the advantage from it. For us, we would ensure that we focus on the people of the country, for our producers to say, well, okay, this thing coming, what will we need to be able to prepare you to benefit from it? That is in terms of the quality of the production, the types of things that they produce, and what kind of arrangement they'll have to make in order to sell to these operators, if there are any special arrangements. I mean, the hotels all over here, St. Vincent and Grenadines, where they just buy from whomever supplies them. They have a special arrangements. If the government knew that this is the case, then ready our people to take advantage of it. Don't just tell them now, step up to the plate, or otherwise you're going to lose this opportunity. That is
what does that look like? What does that look like? Maybe providing the land by lease, or what does that have been?
No, listen. Land is not the problem here. A lot of people have land. I have family in the Mesa Valley. All of you must have families who are farming. Most of it now is growing elephant grass. What they need to do is to find a market for the commodities. And what commodities you're growing, you say, okay, this is how we're going to do it, and put the measures in place to assist those farmers to get there. The government, for example, they receive a lot of money from the European Union some years ago to put in greenhouses that they say will help the farmers to become more efficient, more productive, and able to provide the things that the local market, the tourist industry primarily, requires. You ever been up to Montreal the other day and see what the greenhouse look like?
I heard it's a little...
That is supposed to be the cutting edge of our agriculture. You've been up there and see it? Government has it under control. It's under lock and key. Nothing growing there. The place it looks like it's abandoned. So they have not done the necessary work, and that is the difference between us and them. They focus on the big shiny object, which is getting the hotel up and going, and then they try to figure out, well, how are the local people going to benefit from it? We would put it the other way around. We say we're bringing something here because we want it to benefit our people. The priority has to be, how does it benefit our people? It's the same thing they did when they did the OER fisheries project. You heard me talk about that many times. They put it up there and nobody benefited from it because they didn't seriously say how they're going to link it to the fisher folk there.
There's an argument to be made that for investments or investors like Sandals, that the duty-free concessions and whatnot are a requirement for them. And in that regard, the ball is in their court, or they hold the power, because, well, if they don't give them the concessions, they might not come. So there's an argument that the same thing would have happened under an NDP government, where the farmers, the local producers, would still not have been able to compete with the duty-free concessions that these places get.
Well, listen, I understand the nature of attracting foreign investment, any kind of investment, and not just here, anywhere you go. You have to, try and meet them somewhere, because they know they have options, they can go elsewhere. So you have to negotiate. But when you negotiate from the point of view of saying what is beneficial to our people, and you try and get the best and the most you can out of it. If they say that this particular developer, that they want to be able to purchase from a central location and so forth, then it is not for them to go and create that, because they have alternatives. It is for the government to say, okay, let us create that central purchasing and so forth, and production mechanism, so that we can supply it, and then the farmers will benefit from that. How have they done anything to assist farmers and fisher folk to be able to benefit from it? And all of a sudden, they dropped this on people when they were saying before that you have all of these things are going to be coming, and in their words, that the farmers are going to have these tremendous opportunities to supply so much goods to these developers. And then you hear on the one hand, they're talking about that, and then you hear the Minister of Agriculture saying that we can't produce enough stuff to fill a 20-foot container on a regular basis to export. Well, which is it? What are they doing as a government to get this farming pillar that they talk about, that they say that we crib from them? What are they doing? That is the difference. We have a plan that we have outlined as to how we are going to help farmers. Predial larceny, for example, where people thieving the animals and the crops. That is a serious, serious problem. It may not get the high profile when you come and you complain to the police and you say, they take 2 of my ram and they cut a bunch of my planting again. They'll tell you, go and come back. But add this up every week, every farmer you talk to, they will tell you they're losing animals on a regular basis. And you know what they do? They only put them where they could see them from their homes. One guy told me the other day, I was up in Mespo area. He had to go sleep next to his animals to make sure that people don't thief them. How are you going to give any incentive to farmers to be able to produce and to supply a local or any other market if you don't put those things in place? So that's another way in which they have failed the farmers. And you're talking about concessions and so forth. Of course, we understand how that is played. That is understandable because the developers, they're business people. They're coming to find the best deal they can. But you also have to look out for the best deal you can for the people. You can't just simply say you're facilitating the foreign direct investor so that they can get it as easy and make as much as possible out of it so that they're here. And you can point to it and say, listen, we have big conference coming up. If we didn't put this in place, we wouldn't be able to do that. What about the local people here who are not benefiting in the way that you promised them? You know, you need to make good on that. And that's the difference between us and them.
If you do win the next election, how is it that deal now is just dead in the water? Because I think the sandals and rainforests are related in some fashion, be it in ownership or whatever it is. Wasn't that always destined to kind of happen?
Well, the point is, Jaga, we have not seen the agreement, you know, but you're quite right. If you have a relationship between the developer and this major supplier, you could see that coming, that there maybe the two came in tandem because that was the objective. I don't know because I haven't seen any agreement. The people haven't seen the agreement. The government is keeping it close to the chest like it's some national secret. But obviously, an NDP government, we will have to look at how we can make sure that we maximize, even that the developers here on the ground, we are not going to be a government that goes about and simply saying you don't want foreign direct investment. How are we going to develop the country? Of course, we need that. But we have to be careful how we negotiate to make sure that the people here, the focus is on them. And wherever we can get advantage, we do it. Countries are in different positions that in terms of their negotiating strengths. And we in tourism, we are in a position where we are growing and we are an attractive market. So people would want to come here to invest if they understand that government has an infrastructure in place, has a legal mechanism in place that facilitates that. So you got to use these things as leverage in order to negotiate. You can't just simply say, let's make it quick, let's make it quick. What do you need to get it done? That seems to be the approach that they're doing. You know, what do you need to get it done?
Would you say that?
Don't worry about the people, we can deal with that. Remember when Ames came and the suppliers were complaining and saying we're not getting paid? Them fellas, they go between the supplier and Ames and protecting Ames and Buckingham Bay from the suppliers and service providers who are demanding the money. Come to me and I will deal with it. When in fact, they should have been saying, these are the people who are benefiting from it. Let's make sure that you do good by them. Pay them their money and then we move forward. Otherwise, we just basically, all we're doing is facilitating some investor and not looking out for the best interest of our people.
As it relates to tourism, because I think you mentioned tourism as well.
Yeah, as a pillar.
What is it that we are doing or not doing, or what is the bond that we are missing as it regards to the tourism sector?
Well, our tourism sector, I mean, it's multifaceted. You have the stayover tourists, you have the yachties, for example, the yachties. I could talk about that because that is one that's very important in my own community. In some of the areas in Villa and in Walebo, and it's a very important sector. But the government many years ago dropped the ball because they didn't pay attention to it. All they did is they increased the amount of money that they were getting from the yachties and didn't provide the services. So you had now St. Vincent and Grenadines, we have the worst reputation for yacht invasion, for break-ins and yachts in the entire Circum-Caribbean region. We always in the top 4 in terms of break-ins and so forth. Last year, 2022, we were number 1. Who wants to be number 1 for breaking in yachts? You know, so that's something that we need to address. And I've been calling for this for years, saying at least put a Coast Guard boat in some areas where it's visible and show. In Port Elizabeth, for example, that we are dealing with this. People know that shit happens no matter where you are, right? What they want to know is that you're going to do something about it. You have to be able to, respond and give them the confidence that you are going to do something about it. And this government, they did not. They just dropped the ball. And we have a minister here now who all he's doing is walking around looking pretty and pretending that he knows what he's talking about. And he does not. He is totally out of his depth when it comes to the tourism sector. And you can't come and reinvent the wheel and make you feel like you have all the knowledge. You become minister now, so you know about everything, more than the people who work in the industry for all their life, who make their living from it, who have to face the bank every month to pay their mortgage, and you know more than them. Humble yourself. Go and listen to the people and figure out what you need to do in order to make our tourism sector work. That's what I would do. Talk to the taxi drivers, for example. I go to a taxi there. It's a Friday, we're losing a lot of money. I said, what do you mean? He said, Fort still closed. He said, can't we carry anybody up by Belmont Lookout and make a little fare? Because they're fixing it in the tourist season. Come on, that makes sense. I mean, we're back to the airport the other day, from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, not working because the fire engine, they said the fire truck not working. For a part that they could have had stockpile. People lose business, our reputation suffers. People had to go all over the place to try to get back to their home. I mean, ridiculous. How could you be serious about tourism when you're making these simple, amateurish mistakes? They're not ready.
Oof. That was fiery, boy.
Friday, you? Are you? No, are you?
Why not? I want you.
In terms of manufacturing, remember, back in the day, we could have talked. Remember, Camden Park used to be we used to call the manufacturing stretch. We had so much things we used to what in terms of manufacturing. Where we falling short in terms of manufacturing?
Well, manufacturing is a challenge. We understand that because at the base of everything is the cost of energy, and you know that our energy costs here are high because we're using imported energy. But there are areas that we have to be very strategic in how we pursue them. Food processing, for example. You've heard Major Leacock and other members talk about the potential for that. And, we as a party support that. That is something that we have to look at and see how we can help our agricultural producers while at the same time adding value to the commodities and products that we export. And we will focus on that as an area. It's one of the low-hanging fruits, so to speak, that we can use to develop. And then to attract, manufacturers or producers in other areas. You may have to get persons coming in, but you have to have a regime that attracts and encourages them and manage them and make sure that you can provide a legal framework that is reliable. You have energy systems that are reliable. You have infrastructure that works. You have all of these things that support a modern economy because people have other options. They don't have to come and bring the money here. They don't have to come and bring the money here. And so we have to make it so that we can demonstrate. And it's not just people looking for concessions, That is not the main thing. What I want is to say that you're serious about this. That if I invest, I have a legal framework that I could rely on to protect my interests. And that you're not going to just come willy-nilly and say, well, they don't support me, and therefore you're not getting this, you're not getting that, as they did with some of our local producers here, Bigger Bigs being the biggest example. But I mean, you had to be serious about developing because everybody suffers for the mistakes and the negligence of this present government. And go up to Montreal Gardens, I beg you. Not Montreal Gardens, but to Montreal. Even get the gardens itself. And you see, we talk about fixing the road there. I mean, there's some parts of that road is impossible. And that's, again, another fear that the taxi drivers are losing. I talk to taxi drivers in town. I say, well, how come all they don't go Montreal Gardens? He said, me, it costs me more to go up there than to the fare I would get because I got damaged my vehicle. These are things, again, easy to fix, but the government don't care because it's not theirs.
Yeah. All right, Doc. Well, that's our time for today. The last question, I guess, would be, did you actually steal the pillars?
Absolutely not.
Why are you stealing?
I have nothing to steal from Ralph RDU LP. And they talking about dance. If I used to dance like, to dance like him, I wouldn't dance at all. Don't bother with that stuff. We are focusing on delivering for the people. Our difference between them is that they talk about it and they're playing wall boss and trying to show, get more stripes on their shoulders. And we are trying to look out for the ordinary man, the local person, the woman and man, the producers here in St. Vincent and Grenadines. Those are my concerns. And I will continue to advocate on their behalf. And in government, you will see a fundamental shift in the approach of government to assisting our local producers, whether it's farmers, manufacturers, people in the construction industry, every facet of visit, because we know it's not one single thing that is going to bring us the prosperity and growth we need. You have to be multifaceted, and that is why we have the 4 pillars that we have identified as the key productive sectors: agriculture, tourism, and then the blue economy, which is fishing, alcohol, and yachting. Primarily, that's what I will focus on. And of course, the new economy, the creatives, the arts and culture, and sports, and information technology, and the crafts and handicraft makers and so forth. You know, we think about these as cultures or informal economy. We're bringing them centrally into the economy as part of what makes us, unique and productive, and we will do so, and people will benefit from it.
Yeah. There you go, Doc. Thanks for your time, Doc.
Well, thank you, fellas, and anytime.
All right. That was Doc Friday, the boy. And then when we come back, Radam.